you just getting here, getting started, but I'm also going to share this live to some other people. So I'm sorry, some other platforms. So if you guys can hang in with me for 2 seconds while I'm doing that. In the meantime, who are you? Where are you watching me from? And all that good stuff. What are you doing right now? I just came in from doing had my sales meeting, had my sales meeting this morning, had some running around to do with my son. So yeah. So yesterday, I saw an offer for a short sale. Now, those of you who may not know what a short sale is, oh, sorry. Those of you who may not know what a short sale is, a short sale is when you attempt to, or you're asking the bank to allow you to sell the home for less than what you currently owe. So let's say you have a house that you purchased maybe 10 years ago and it was $200,000. You owe $150,000 now, but you're having a hard time paying your mortgage, for example, and you ask the bank to allow you to sell it for 140, for example. That would be an example of a short sale. So that's usually what a short sale is. So that would be the example of a short sale. So many people right now, with everything that's been going on with COVID, are having some troubles and struggles with being able to pay their mortgage. FHA, which is one of the leading loan products that most people are getting, has reported that they are getting somewhere around 15 to 16% delinquency rate in people not paying their mortgages. So that means that there are some people who are not paying. Hey, Sabrina. Hey, Katisha. There are some people who are not paying their mortgages right now. And when I saw that short sale, immediately people are thinking COVID. However, I do want to caution you guys that there were people who were facing foreclosure prior to COVID happening. So in that instance, that person was already kind of on the cusp of potentially losing their home and going into foreclosure. And then COVID put them over the edge. Now, at one point, FHA was putting people in forbearance, which was essentially because of COVID. Everybody understood what was happening. They put people in a forbearance status, essentially saying that they're not going to penalize you for not paying your mortgage. They're not going to give you any type of late fees. They're not going to foreclose on you because of that. However, again, people who may have been experiencing a foreclosure proceeding prior to that moratorium happening for mortgages was still kind of in that till of potentially being foreclosed on. I actually had a client who was dealing with that himself. So when he called me in March wanting to sell the home, he was already under the foreclosure. They were already going to start the proceedings. We had to reach out to the bank to see what our options are, how much time we had to sell the property, how much time before they were going to foreclose on him. So at that time, in March, his foreclosure date was in July. So again, if you are someone who was in that same type of situation as he was back in March or February, because in March, he hadn't paid his mortgage at that point for about 4 months. So he was behind 4 months in his mortgage payments. Again, this is pre the official COVID situation. So in that instance, the foreclosure, hi Ashley, the moratorium that they had on foreclosures and putting people in forbearance was not applying to the people who were already in foreclosure proceedings. Okay, so again, with that being the case, that changes those people's trajectory drastically, or rather, it doesn't change those people's trajectory drastically because they are already on dockets of being foreclosed on. So don't necessarily fully attribute this situation to COVID because that person or that homeowner may have already been in a process before COVID even happened. Obviously, COVID didn't help because, again, in that situation, those same people who were struggling to pay their mortgage prior to COVID officially, being declared a pandemic and all of that, are now being, furloughed. They were being laid off. Some of them had gotten sick. There's a lot that was happening to different people and affecting them in ways that obviously affected their ability to pay their mortgage. So those people, again, were already in process. So seeing an offer for a short sale yesterday very well could have been someone who has been in the process and kind of gone back and forth with the bank for the last 5 or 6 months. So luckily for him, we were able to sell his property before they foreclosed on him, and we could potentially do the same for you. So 2 things that I want you all to be mindful of and to consider when it comes to a short sale is short sale may not be the best option for you because the market has been very strong. So if you have a property right now, I have a client, just spoke to him a week ago, purchased his property a year ago for $160,000, $165,000. The home down the street from him sold for $190,000. If for some crazy, strange, or COVID time reason he cannot pay his mortgage and he wants to sell his property, he does not need to do a short sale because he currently has about $25,000 to $30,000 in equity in his home. So if you all are speaking to realtors or the bank and they are trying to get you to do a short sale, stop. Hammer time. No, hammer time. If you are speaking to anyone who is suggesting a short sale to you, specifically in this current marketplace, that may not be the best option for you unless, 1, you owe way more than your home is currently worth. 2, and when I say way more, I mean like $50,000 more. Like right now, as I said, I have a client who he's seeing $25,000 in equity. I have another client, she purchased back in October. She's also seeing $30,000 in equity. So there would have to be a real gap between how much you owe and how much your property is worth. And your property would have to have dropped or plummeted in the last couple of months. So give me a second, Kim. I'm going to read your question and answer. So in that instance, that a short sale would be the last option. You have other options. Because of the current marketplace, there are a lot of buyers, but not enough inventory. So it is very, very competitive right now. There's not a lot of inventory. And so you may be much better off selling your home in the open market than going with a short sale. And the way you would know that would be A, consulting with a trusted realtor like me, or B, at the very minimum, you can look at your Zillows and things like that. Now, I will caution you guys, Zillow, Trulia, and some of those websites usually are off with their comps. However, you can get a general idea. They may be off by $10,000 over what you really could get for that home, or they may be $10,000 less, but at least you'll have a general idea. You compare how much you owe versus how much either your realtor or the comps if you know that your neighbors just sold their house, find out how you can look it up and see how much they sold their home for. That will give you an idea of whether or not a short sale is even something you should be considering, which for most people in this climate, it is not. It is not. So do not let the impending situation with COVID and jobs and all of this stuff scare you, because the reality may be that if you need to sell your home because you're feeling overwhelmed and you're not able to pay your mortgage, the first option would be for you to sell the home and you can actually walk away with some money in your pocket, which is what my client did. So in his instance, we purchased that home almost 3 years ago, not even fully 3 years ago. Might have been 2. I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And it was in East Point, small home, 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, very modest. He purchased it for $90,000. We sold it for $110,000. So he had enough money to pay whatever he needed to pay in terms of realtor fees and also, taxes. And he had his taxes and he had some other things that he needed to pay because he was behind in some fees that he has. So let's say taxes, water bills, whatever, call whatever fee you want to think of, and was able to walk away with some money in his pocket to be able to rent or start over. So it's not a hard and fast, you are behind in your mortgage, so you need to short sell. Don't think that. Don't believe that, because if you are to reach out to someone who is well versed in how short sales work and what the market is, they will be able to tell you whether or not short sale is the only option that you have, and then they will be able to navigate the short sale process for you. So I'm going to read a couple of questions, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So what if you filed Chapter 13 and was making your payments and now your wages have been cut? Okay, so you can attempt to do a loan modification. I'm glad you mentioned that. So a loan modification, if you're just not ready to sell and you're hoping to stay in your home, a loan modification is a very valuable option. That is usually the first step before you go straight to short sale. You say to the bank, I've had my wages cut, or I'm getting less hours, or whatever situation has changed. You will appeal to the bank, whomever your mortgage broker is, whoever's holding your mortgage, and say, let them know what's happening. There is a process for loan modification. Whatever that may be, they can say, they will usually go based on, and you have to provide documentation, obviously. You can't say, I don't have any money, I want to pay less, and they say, okay, no problem. There is a process to the loan modification. You have to submit documentation proving that you have either your hours have been cut or your pay has been cut, or also if you have illnesses. So again, COVID is a viable illness that you can prove. If you can prove it, you have to be able to prove it and ask to have your loan modified. Now, with the loan modification, is usually for a period of time. Your loan is not modified forever. So whether it's 90 days, 60 days, and usually you have to continue to ask for the modification again at a later date. So let's say you get a modification, they give you a modification for 90 days. Before the 90-day mark, you will have to reapply to continue that modification. Otherwise, you have the stipulations in your whomever your lender is will explain it to you. Whomever is holding it will explain to you the process of the loan modification. But usually, it is not forever. It is a certain period of time for you to recover from whatever it is that put you in a position that you needed a modification. Does that answer your question? How do you get an accurate number of how much equity you have in your home? Hey, Katisha, you will call me. I will look up how much you pay for the home, how much the home is currently worth, and then how much you currently owe. That is what pretty much gives us the number. So if let's say you purchased a home 4 years ago, you purchased it for $150. The home is currently worth $200 or $210, and you owe $130. You have about $70,000 in equity in your property. That's how we do the math. So again, the short sale. So to wrap it up, the short sale is the last option. It's the last option. In today's marketplace. Now that could change. That can change. We're still, in a lot of ways, the government is still propping up the economy. So people are in position where they're not completely like, I can't pay my mortgage anymore. There's been a moratorium on mortgage payments as well as rent payments. And there's still some work being done to continue that or extend it, and also extend the people's payments for the stimulus package and all that kind of stuff. So this is not a hard and fast, the sky is falling and short sales are coming. This is, be aware that short sales are definitely on the horizon, and what you need to do is figure out whether or not a short sale, figure out how much equity you have in your property. And again, if you have any questions about equity, how much your property is worth, please, by all means, give me a call, send me a message, email, Telegram, Bird. I will be able to look up your address and see how much the homes in your neighborhood are currently being sold for. And then that will help you strategize. Do not make any decisions without having fully vetted all of your options and what your current value of your property is. So you have to strategize on these things. And I find what happens a lot of times is we start to feel a little overwhelmed and we make quick decisions that we don't have to make. So like bankruptcies, for example. Chapter 13, Chapter 7, you start that process, and reality is that you may not have needed a bankruptcy, and that bankruptcy can affect your finances in such a major way when you had other options. And had you had an opportunity to strategize and consider all of your options, then you would have been able to make better decisions. And I'm here to help you make better decisions. Yay! So in any case, do not immediately jump into a short sale. One of the options, as one of the commenters mentioned, is potentially a loan modification. Another option is a refi. If you refi your loan, you could be paying less. If you're paying less, then now you may be in position to pay your mortgage because it's $100 or $200 less than what you have been paying. If you guys are looking for options, please call me. So you have loan modification. You also have a potential to refi your loan. Interest rates have been extremely low. So if you have a 5.5, 4 point something interest rate, you may be in position to get a 2 point something interest rate. That is a big difference in your payments. Very big difference in your payments. So that would be something that I would consider. And last but not least, if you just feel like, you know what, this is overwhelming, I can't do it anymore, and you want to sell your property, again, please give me a call, because I would rather you have the information that you need to be able to make the best possible decision. And again, that's how much is your home currently worth? How much do you owe? And what the cost of selling your home looks like. And that's not just, realtor fees, closing costs. What does the cost of your relocation look like? Like, where are you going to go? Where, are you prepared to go somewhere and rent? Do you have family that you can stay with? Are you relocating to another state? Like, what does that look like for you? And that's what your full scope of your strategy needs to look like. It's not just, quick decision and now we're regretting it and saying, I don't know why I did that. Which I'm sure we've all had our moments of, why did I do that? So I'm here to help you guys. So April Rogerson, the Contract Slayer, Century 21 Connect Realty. If you guys have any questions about buying or selling a home, and specifically to this situation, if you have any questions about the value of your home, please give me a call. I would love to assist you. Thanks, guys. You're welcome. Do you guys have any questions before I go? Because I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Bye.